Welcome to the Sober Biz Podcast, the show for the bold, the brilliant, and the booze-free. Here we talk about building meaningful booze-free businesses, turning your mess into your message, and showing up even when you feel like an imposter. This is no fluff and no filters, honest conversations for alcohol-free entrepreneurs who want to make an impact. Okay, welcome to the Sober Biz Podcast. I am absolutely wildly grateful for our guest today, Mark Nendick. I'm so excited to introduce you to this community and to get people connected with what you're up to, because it is amazing, unbelievable. I don't even know where to start, honestly, because I just went down so many rabbit holes with what you're up to. So why don't we just start with, can you share about who you are, what you're up to, and tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so Mark Nendick, first off, husband and father. So I have 3 kids, Olivia, Brady, and Thea. They're 20, 17, and 12. An ultra runner, so I do crazy races, which I'm sure we're going to talk about today.
100%.
Been sober for 13 years. And I just trying to spread the message and share my story. I think it's very rare these days that people, when they get sober, come from as far as away as I was and become successful, whatever successful is to you. So I don't know. I just like sharing my story. Dad, father, regular guy.
Amazing. I want to touch on that a little bit. What is successful to you?
So these days, successful to me is just getting up and being sober and going to work and showing up for my family and showing up and just being a good person. I think when I was drinking, when I was sober, I was good. But when I was drinking, I had tendencies, right? And so now being successful is first providing a home for my family, like I said, a good career, and just being able to provide. Yeah.
Amazing. So talking about your sobriety, it said 12 and a half on the documentary. You're still around there? Is it 13 now?
13 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing. So what was that moment that made you want to give up alcohol? Can you take us back to that?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, to be honest. So I'm not a classic, what would you call an alcoholic, I would say. I'm more of a binge drinker. And it's funny, I had to Google, is binge drinking a form of alcoholism? And it turns out it is. And so what I would do is when I wouldn't drink every day, but when I did, 2 out of 5 times were a runaway. And when I mean runaway, like we're drinking until everything is gone. And people are like, I want to go home. And I'm like, I still want to keep going. And that led to 7 times overnight in prison for drunk in public. That led to fist fights. That led to so much destruction. And the last time I drank, I play rugby. This is just like a men's league rugby. We had a rugby game. And after rugby, we have a social. So everyone gets together and drinks, of course. And so for me, and for a lot of people in addiction, they have triggers. So for me, it was a camaraderie of rugby.
Yeah.
The getting together of a group of people, and we started drinking. And when we decided to go to the bar after, and we were drinking outside the bar, and you can't do that, obviously. And someone called, and they said, "Okay, you guys need to go." And I decided it was not time to go. I went into the bar and got arrested and thrown in the drunk tank. And so I got thrown in the drunk tank, spent the night in jail, which is not fun. Anyone that's listening, it's not glamorous. And I got dropped off at my front door the next day at 7 a.m. My wife didn't know where I was. My kids didn't know where I was. And I opened the door, or she opened the door, Kelly, and she had a look on her face that was like, just, this is enough. Like, it's too much. And I saw in that moment, it makes me emotional to even talk about it. I saw my life kind of flash before my eyes, and I'm like, if I don't make a decision right now to stop drinking, I'm going to lose my wife, my house, my kids. My kids were little, fortunately, at the time. And that day I told her I was going to quit, and I had told her before, but I didn't really mean it. And this time I meant it. And I haven't touched alcohol since that day.
Wow. I really want to just go back to what you touched on about the thinking you need to drink every day for it to be a problem. I had that mentality for so long. Yeah. We talked a little bit before we started recording about when I was young, like teenage years, I had a problem. Everyone could see I had a problem. It was obvious I had a problem. but I had a child, and then I started getting my stuff together, and I kind of was able to control it for a while. And things were okay until I put alcohol in my body, and then it was unpredictable, and then I didn't know what was going to happen. And I didn't know that was addiction for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah. And I think same thing. Like I had a job, I went to work a lot, and I made decent money. And I was, to be honest, like even through my whole addiction, I was always a nice person. But I would do crappy things. I don't want to swear. I would do not great things when I was drinking. And I'm like, sometimes addicts have a way of like, well, that's not me. But it is you, right?
Yeah.
Like you're deciding to do that. And so I was functioning, but then I would have like a Friday night, and then it would turn into a runaway, and then, spending amount of money. And so, yeah, again, like I would be able to function and be like, I'm okay. It's not that big of a deal. But it kept escalating to the point, like you get arrested or you get, bad things happen. But then it got to like this point where it's like, okay, this is not sustainable anymore.
Did you think that you could stop on your own? Like it wasn't going to be a big deal? I had that mentality where it's like, oh, I could stop if I want to. I just don't want to.
Yeah. I have a funny story about that with a friend of mine, but I wasn't sure. It's really scary, to be honest. And so when I decided to quit, I phoned at work, we have like a EFAP program, right? Employee assistance, you can phone. And I said, I'm going to do whatever I can because I'm helpless. I really didn't know what to do. And I went and saw the counselor, and he told me, you won't be able to do it on your own. It was a bad experience. And I never went back to that guy. And I said, in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I am going to do it on my own. And I've done it on my own, cold turkey. I've obviously done therapy, and hopefully we can touch on that. But I definitely didn't think I could do it on my own. And if I didn't have my wife, Kelly, to support me and my family and a few key people, I wouldn't be here with you right now, for sure.
So did they think that you needed like in person?
Treatment.
Treatment? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I should have went to treatment. If I'm being honest, I wish I did.
Okay.
And I'm kind of sad I didn't get to go to treatment, to be honest, because I think,
I get that too.
Yeah, I think like 2 months or 6 weeks of like, okay, just go get your stuff together. You're going to be in a safe environment. You can speak to a counselor. You can work out. And I didn't get that. Like I just quit, and then I had to go back to work.
People pay really good money to take that kind of time off and work on themselves now.
So I kind of wish someone was like, you know what, Mark, go to treatment. I would have been like, cool. But I didn't. And like, so the thing is with life is like life carries on. It doesn't really care if you have problems. You just have to keep showing up. So I quit drinking, and then I had to go to work. And I had my wife at the time, she worked with the community policing office where we live. And so her coworkers were the police that arrested me.
Oh, no.
So you can imagine the shame she felt on Monday morning. I put her through that, where they're like, are you okay? Like your husband, this is what he did. And it was just the one thing I don't miss about like being sober. The best thing I would say is just the lack of shame.
Yes.
And guilt. And I felt, because I feel like I'm a good person, and I would do these bad things. And then I would wake up and check my phone. Who did I text, or what did I ruin? And then I had to repair all that stuff, and the shame and guilt. And now I wake up and like, if I make a bad decision, I made it.
Yeah.
And I can live with that,
Yeah. And I remember in addiction just feeling like there's no way I can be forgiven for these things. Yeah. Like I'd have that shame constantly. And the hangover was really, really bad. But then the guilt hangover was like just devastating. And then I would need another drink because I'm like, I can't live with myself,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay. So what brought you to your knees, and you started going and getting help and getting counseling? Yeah. So then when did ultra marathon running come into play? How did we get from there to there?
Yeah. So there's a lot of, I would say, addicts and people dealing with stuff in ultra marathon, but It didn't start off as ultra marathon. So my running career, it started before I quit drinking, to be honest. I was like, when I was younger, I was really fit. I was a good athlete, should have played college sports. And then once I left home, I had a traumatic childhood. It wasn't all bad, but there was some things going on. And so once I got out of the house, I just went crazy and started drinking and partying I went on like a 7-year run. And I think most people do like a 2-year run. I went till it wasn't cool anymore. And so my friend has this event, her brother died of cancer. And so they created a run, the Strawn Hartley Legacy Foundation. And my wife's a great athlete. She ran it. And I was pushing our stroller with our daughter, drinking Frappuccino. I was like 265 pounds.
Wow.
In high school, I was 175. And I was like, man, I need to get in shape. Like, this is crazy. And so I slowly started the process of trying to get healthy. And then with running, 5K, 10K, half marathon, marathon. So ultra marathon, for people that don't know, starts at 50 kilometers
Okay.
and goes up from there. So a lot of people get confused.
Mhm.
Ultra marathon is 50 kilometers and higher. So I started with 50 and I was like, this is cool. And then, you go from 50 to 100 kilometers. I did the death race. That was the
Okay.
first film.
What is a death race?
So the death race is in Grand Cache, Alberta. It's a very famous ultra marathon. And it's the first ultra marathon I did that was like over 100 kilometers. So it's 118 kilometers. I think there's 16,000 feet of elevation gains, a lot of climbing.
Wow.
And I went there, and that's where I'm sure we're going to talk about the films, but that's the first one we filmed. And I did that one, and I barely finished it, but I got it done, and I was hooked. Because I was like, so I coined a phrase, I don't even know, but we call it an adventure bender. So like, so in my past life, if I go on a bender, right, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, back to work on Monday. Well, an adventure bender is like, these races take a few days. And so I go there, I'm completely sober. I don't sleep, I run, I do all the same things.
Okay.
But at the end of it, I haven't fought anyone, I haven't hurt anyone, I didn't spend all my money, none of my relationships are ruined. So it's almost like a great substitute for that. It's about the only time in my life where I feel completely free.
Wow.
That same feeling of like, you've mentioned before, like after when my anxiety was out of control, it would take 6 drinks. That seemed to be my number. And I had 6 drinks, and then finally I felt like myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could be free. I could joke and not worry about all the stuff I was worried about. And so when I do ultra and get into a race, that's about the only thing I've found where I can feel the same feeling I have when I was drinking or whatever I was doing, and not hurt anybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Oh, I've got so much I want to get into. So did that, I feel like I go on business benders, honestly.
Yeah. Trust me, I can do a bender on just about anything.
Yeah, right.
Like I've done food benders. I've done, I can, when you're an addict, like one thing I want to say is, and make it clear, I don't know if everyone knows this, but like once you're an addict, I think you're always an addict.
Yeah.
And I think like when you say I quit, typically we transfer it to a different thing, and some of them are more healthy than others. So I would probably say I'm addicted to running. And some people would say like, although you're just addicted to running. I'm like, you know what? I'm not. Like, I'm not killing anybody. I'm not hurting anybody. So
Yeah.
I need, the reason I love ultra marathon is because you have to be very structured with your training if you want to finish. So I like the structure. I have to get certain things done. I follow a program. I have to eat a certain way. And so that structure for someone who's a freaking maniac, if I'm left to my own devices, works really well for me.
100%. I think the more structure we have, almost the more free we are, because then you're not spending so much time trying to think about like, what's the right next thing to do? What am I doing with blah, blah, blah. It's just like, this is what's in front of me, complete the next task. And it frees my mind up when I can get to those points to have structure for other things.
I think an idle mind is the devil's playground.
Yeah.
Really. And especially for people like you and I think.
Yeah.
If I have too much time to think, it can get weird.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore. Like I'm pretty far out of it. But even now, I can be at work and like have some idle time and be like, man, I miss doing that. I miss doing this.
Yeah.
And so if I keep myself structured and on point, it seems to work well.
You talked about creating a documentary with your first run. So what gave you the inspiration to start documenting these things? Like, what was behind that?
Yeah, it was an interesting thing. Like I had been doing social media, and I do run coaching, and I've worked with over 500 people individually, and I also do corporate wellness. And so I've been on social media for a while, and my friend Jessie works at a running store that I'm sponsored by, Runner Soul and Kamloops.
Oh, cool.
So I met Jessie there, and one day she mentioned her boyfriend was a filmmaker. And then so I thought to myself, we're going to do the death race. I met DJ, his name's DJ. I met him for a coffee, and like, why don't we document this? It was just like, honestly, on a whim.
Wow.
And we went out there to the death race, which is a huge race, and we just did it. He followed me around. We kind of winged it, and we got it done, and it turned out amazing. He's a really talented guy. And I was able to share my story in a long form. Like I think sometimes social media, like a 1-minute clip, you can't really learn everything. And so over a long, like 20 minutes, you can get to know somebody. So we did that one. and then we did another one, and then we did not. So we've done 4 so far,
Wow.
and each one has gotten, I think, a little bit better and more notoriety. And not to go on too much, but this last one we got paid to do by Sinister Sports, who runs the death race. So we went for fun the first time, and 2 years later, we're getting paid to do the documentary, which, if you think about in that short amount of time to be the featured film crew for the race, is pretty amazing.
Were you sponsored by Hoka by any chance? Because I noticed you talking a lot about those.
So Hoka, if you see this, please reach out to me. It's on my bucket list. Hoka
amazing.
Hoka would be on my list. There's a bunch of brands. So the goal with the documenting is to share the story, but also these things are expensive. And so I've self-funded a lot of it. So my ultimate goal would be to find partnerships. And like, even with the sober community, there's lots of brands that follow sober runners and help support what they do and get their message out there. So in a dream world, we'd get supported and, help take some of the cost of it on. And it's such a great way, I think, long form to share your story. And DJ's very good at it and cinematic. And we set the goal for ourselves to do 10. I think so. 10 is like, because the first couple, sometimes, as you know, creating content, you get crickets. It's like, man, it's easy to quit.
It is.
So why we said 10 is like, okay, do 10 and see what happens. And our last one's at 21,000 views and climbing every week. So
wow.
Okay. Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Man, that's like a Cinderella story. That's the dream. And to do it in 2 years is actually incredible. Like, that's fast. And
thank you. Sometimes I have to chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I want everything all at once.
Yeah. Well.
And so, like everybody. And sometimes I have to sit back and be like, man, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Like the first time we went to the death race, it's weird showing up to an event with a camera. People are like, who are you? And why do you think you should be filmed?
Yeah.
Even the organizers were kind of like, hey guys, like, what are you doing? But we won them over just with, I think, being nice and being authentic and shining a great light on the community. So the goal of the films is not to be like, I'm great. The goal of the films is like, I'm a regular guy that can do pretty hard things, but I'm not special. I'm really not. I work really hard. And so the reason why I think the films resonate is because people can see themselves in me and the other racers and be like, I could do that too. And so I think that's cool.
The other thing I really found watching your latest documentary especially was just like, it felt like you're immersed in the race and the process and like what it takes and what something like that really is like. Because it was never even on my radar as something that even existed in the world until I met Orsi, who introduced us.
Yeah.
And then she started doing these, I'm like, why in the world would anybody want to take something like this on? And I didn't really understand it. And watching her go through her process and everything, I'm like, wow, like, it is like life-changing, life-altering stuff. And watching your documentary just gave me like this real immersive experience on like what it's like to go through one of these races. And it feels like almost like you're going to war. Like, it's so intense. Yeah,
the mentality. So what I would say, if I'm gifted at anything, I've worked really hard on my mental toughness. And so I'm really resilient. And that's why I can do these races and do decent at them. But why the ultra marathon thing, like, so immersive. So my normal life, I have a job, I have a business, I have a wife who has a career, I have 3 kids who have sports. And so it's about the only time I get to myself where I don't have to worry about work. I don't have to worry about the kids. And wife gives me the space to be myself. And a lot of times I say before the race, like, thank you for letting me be me, right? Because it's so important. And so I get to be me. And this latest race I did, the Divide 200, was 322 kilometers, and it took 83 hours and 40,000 feet of elevation gain. So I had 4 days immersive, out of my head, not thinking about my trauma, my past. I could just be there in the mountains with my friends, and it was amazing.
Does it feel like you're always chasing the next race now, or do you feel like you can get that mental break from it and just be present in your life and enjoy what's going on? Or are you always thinking like, what's my next race? When am I going again?
No, I think I'm pretty good at switching it off.
Okay.
You have to, because otherwise, like any good addiction, it can be all consuming. And because I have a business and because it's about me a lot, I'm really conscious. I don't want to make my family life all about me. It's about my kids and my wife. And so I try and keep it in a bucket separate. And so when I train for races, I train early in the morning or late at night because I don't want to take time away from them because that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I'm always thinking about the next one. So we're talking about Morocco potentially.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a race in Switzerland that's across the whole country. So I met a friend at this last race, and he's from Norway. And so that's another thing cool about the ultra community. People travel from all over the world to these events
Mm-hmm.
because they're hard to find. And so we made a friend from Norway, and he wants to meet me in Switzerland to do this race, and ideally
Wow.
document it with DJ. So it's never ending, really. I think
Yeah.
you have to be careful with the distance because you can always be like, I need to go farther and farther, and that's a
Right.
slippery slope. So you gotta remember, I have a bit, I can only train so much, and so, but my body has continued to cooperate, and I think I eat well, I train well, and that's why I like coaching.
Yeah.
I'm injury free. Like I'm 47 years old and I'm still training very hard, and so I have a lot of knowledge. And if my body was saying stop, I would stop, but it's not. So we're just gonna keep going.
So when you get to those points on your runs where you're like, I want to stop, or your body wants to stop, what do you tell yourself to keep going? And did you find any similarities between like recovery and running in that sense?
100%. Like every ultra marathoner, even marathoner or half marathoner, at some moment you think about quitting. And I go to my why. I really do. I think about, so I took 6 months to train for this race. I spent thousands of dollars to get here. I took time away from my family, and I'm not going to show up to a race and just quit. Like if I'm going to stop, I'm going to have to be pulled off the trail or by an ambulance. And that's just my mindset. And I took all this time away. And when I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Yeah.
And that's part of my identity. Like if I tell you I'm going to be here for this podcast today, I'm going to be here. And so similar to recovery, like you have to be committed to it and you have to think about it. And when I told my wife that day, when I could have lost everything, that I'm going to stay sober, I committed to it. And so that's just what I do. Yeah.
It's wild to me that so many runners are coming into my life because my dad, when he was younger, really struggled with addiction. And the thing that got him out of it was running. And he always told me when I was young that you got to find something that's more powerful than the addiction to hang on to. For me, that was like my kids. And then finding passion in the work that I'm doing really helped. I also spend time in sober communities and connect with people that are in recovery constantly. So it really, really helps me. But what are your tools for recovery? Like you've got running, you talked about counseling. Is there anything else that you do daily that really helps you stay on a path that you're not going back to?
So I do a lot.
Okay.
And this is all evolved over time. And something that I think about, like in my childhood, my dad wasn't very present. And so I never really had a male role model. And so something that I've learned is like, you can learn about what it's like to be a good father, either from other people, from books or podcasts. And so I've just found resources that because I want to be that's my number one thing. I want to be a good dad and a good husband. And so I want to role model that. So I read books. So back to what I do. I typically run every day. I journal daily. I think that's a really good tool. I think, and I also, have struggled with pretty bad anxiety disorder when I was younger. And so when you're an anxious person, sometimes you have runaway thoughts.
Yeah.
And so one thing I learned in therapy was, if you're having a runaway thought, write it out and see if it makes sense. And when you write it out and it's like, so-and-so looked at me weird yesterday, and I think they're mad at me. And it's like, you write it out and they're like, so-and-so's not thinking about you. They don't really care. And so once you write it out, I think that's a good tool. What else do I do daily? I mean, what I could say is like, what's your perfect day?
Right.
What does your perfect day look like? So when I run in the morning, or lift weights or do yoga, whatever you want to do in the morning, it takes the edge off. And I feel like a lot of people are going through life, they wake up, they feel bad, and then they just drink coffee and go to work.
Right.
You haven't dispelled any of that negative energy. So I think if you can get it out physically or on paper, then you're going to work in a better headspace. I see people go to work and they're just reactionary all day. So as soon as something bad happens, you're like, oh, great, another bad day. Well, I like to control my reality. And so the more things I can do to control how I feel, regardless of how everyone else feels, works for me. And so I find my perfect day and I just freaking do it every day. And so even before I came to this podcast, like I want to talk about health and sobriety. So I went for a run. I did all my things so I could be projecting that into what we're talking about. And so that's just how I live, honestly.
Yeah. So you feel like the mornings though are really the
The
reset
key.
for the day?
I think like people will say, I'm not a morning person. So
Right.
what I would recommend, like a tool, I would say, if you're not a morning person, like just do 10 minutes earlier to start.
Right.
And then 20 minutes and then 30 minutes. And like all of a sudden you have another life.
Mhm.
And so I can get up at 4, I can get up at 3 in the morning and do what I have to do. I don't, but I can get, it's a little crazy, but like typically I can get up at 5 in the morning and do my run, and people think you're crazy, but it's taken a long time. Like I've done this 13 years. This is not an overnight success thing. This has been like, again, reading books and trying stuff. Not
Yeah.
everything works, right? So
Yeah.
trial and error. But I think win the morning, you win the day, honestly. Really.
I noticed in your coaching packages, you had kind of different tiers. And so there's someone who's just like wanting to change their lifestyle, and then up to the ultra marathon runners, right? So for those people that just want to get started, they're not really sure what to do you have like a quick win you can give a listener that might be in that space where they're like, I know I need to change.
Yeah.
Maybe it's me, I don't know. But
Well, if you're asking for yourself, that's fair. No, trust me. So one thing that is great and sucks about the internet is so much information.
Yeah.
So a lot of people I talk to are just overwhelmed.
Mhm.
Like, do I do keto? Do I do paleo? Do I run? Do I walk? Do I lift weights? And so right out of the gate, I would say just move your body. Get outside, get some fresh air, walk for 10 minutes to start, 20 minutes. And food is a big problem.
Yeah.
Even for myself recently, like sometimes when you train as much as I do, I feel like I can eat a lot more. And so my body for a while there was not changing. So I was chubby and really fit at the same time. And part of my addict mind was like, at the end of the day, I would just shove food in my face,
Yeah.
mostly treats. So even someone who would be like really healthy still has hangups. And so I would document what you eat through the day. Just write it down. Don't be judgmental, write it down and just do a review. And you'd be like shocked at how much we actually eat or consume, either consciously or unconsciously. And I think unconscious eating is like, again, you kind of black out, you go in the cupboard and right. And then even like peanuts, 300 calories for a handful. So you eat 3 handfuls, is 900 calories. And if your goal is, or you go to Starbucks and you have a mocha, it's 500 calories. And if your goal is 1,500 for the day, 500 on a coffee, 600 on your nuts, and you haven't even eaten yet.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we're over consuming. So an easy win. One thing I would say is like, don't quit everything all at once.
Right.
Right.
I'm so guilty.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, you know what, today I'm going to start running. I'm going to eat perfectly and I'm going to do yoga because that's cool. I would say pick one thing, master that, and then move on to the next thing.
When I first got sober, I went, did you hear of Bernstein? The Bernstein diet? It was like this insane diet where you go see a doctor, you get B12 injections and B12, B6 injections. I lost 80 pounds. I was barely eating anything though. It was like 600 to 800 calories a day.
Yeah.
So I'd quit drinking. I'd quit eating mostly. And then I quit smoking.
Wow.
And I remember sitting there and getting up to go outside for a cigarette and be like, oh, I don't smoke.
Right.
And then I go to the fridge and like, I don't eat. And then I'm like, what do I do with my hands and my face now? Like, it's so
It's impossible. Yeah.
But I'm kind of, well, I mean, obviously I had a bit of a transition after I got pregnant with my daughter, and then I just picked up food again as like my addiction. But yeah, it was wild. It was like the most uncomfortable feeling. And if I didn't have recovery tools, like I wouldn't have been able to push through that to continue because it felt insane.
Yeah.
Like I remember having times where I was just like crying in my closet because I just couldn't understand what I was feeling.
Yeah.
You know? Like it was just wild how addictive those things are.
Yeah.
And I've given up sugar. It's about 3 years, November 1st.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats.
I've had 2 slip-ups. But
Sugar is actually, if I'm being frank about like M&Ms, I love M&Ms. And like, I don't do, it's funny, we went to Hawaii last year for a vacation.
Yeah.
And my family, like, I didn't realize that at the time, but I was like running, but I was post-race. So it was like this grace period, and I was just eating them like out of control. And they're like, Dad, are you okay? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know. I just need like this. I think everyone, unfortunately, like this blank space where you're just like unconsciously doing things. And so you have to, that's why I say write things down.
Yeah.
Because if I have 6 handfuls of M&Ms and I really think about it, I'm like, is that aligned with who I want to be? No.
Right.
And so don't beat yourself up. Just be aware
Yeah.
and chip away at it, I would say. Don't quit it. Everything at once is not going to work.
I feel
Ever.
like awareness is the key for anything, because once you
Yeah.
really become conscious of it and are aware of it, and if you're not picking up a substance to numb it, then you start feeling uncomfortable with the behavior yourself. And it's like, I need this to change. And then
Yes.
we seek out the tools to help
Yeah.
us do that.
Yeah.
So in terms of coaching, it's
I just
PFN coaching.
Yeah,
is that
I just like
correct?
that. Actually, it was funny when I got a business. I just like
Yeah.
the acronym, really.
Yeah.
It's like priority fitness and nutrition, but I just like PFN. Sounds good. So
I love
yeah,
it.
PFN coaching. Yeah.
So where do you start with people when you're going through a coaching program? Like, what kind of questions are you diving into to get a sense of where they're at? And then what are the typical next steps for people?
Yeah. So when I coach people, I like to meet them where they're at.
Mhm.
And typically it's like, what have you been doing? What have you tried in the past? And what do you enjoy doing? So I think if some people, for example, if you say like, I want to be a runner, but you don't like running, then running's probably not the thing for you.
Yeah.
Right? So I try not to force running. I like to run, but you don't have to like running. So do you like biking? Do you like hiking? Do you like swimming? Do you like to be with your friends in a yoga class? Like, I think anything to stick with it, you have to like it first.
Mhm.
And so first off, do you like it? And then we track your food for a week, because I don't think you can do fitness or nutrition separately. Unfortunately, I think they're combined.
Mm.
You can do one or the other to start, but I think to ultimately get where you want to go, you have to do both. And so,
Okay, because I've heard mixed things on that. There's some advice out there that's like, if you're going to start a fitness thing, don't worry about your diet right now because you're going to get really hungry.
yeah, yeah,
And then there's some people that tell you, like, focus on your food first, lose the weight, and then start working out so that you're not working out with as much mass and you can actually see your progress.
Right.
Where do you fall on that? You think they just go hand in hand?
I think they go hand, to be honest, they go hand in hand. And
Yeah.
I think with the food, again, I think it's more important to start just eliminating, like, not change your whole diet. I think just find out the low hanging fruit is like, what are you doing? So is it the Starbucks? Is it the chips after dinner? Is
Right.
it sugar? So if we can slowly start peeling those away one at a time, and then you start moving your body. So you're getting the positive benefits of being outside and moving your body, which feels endorphins,
Yeah.
all the good things, right? All the good feelings. And then if I exercise in the morning, do I want to destroy it with food later? So there's a little bit of guilt that goes with that.
Yeah.
So you can self-sabotage yourself by exercising and then eating more.
Right.
So, but the thing with food is like, don't get real strict right out of the gate. Just the low-hanging fruit, like I said, is the things
Yeah.
that you're making mistakes with. Recognize what you're making mistakes with and adjust.
So I gave up gluten and sugar around the same time. I was almost like no flour at all whatsoever for a while, but it was working really well for me. And then I started making these like adjustments, and I was like, I can have gluten-free flour, and I can have a gluten-free pizza. And then it was like, I can have a gluten-free pizza at 11 p.m. because I'm feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like slowly all the progress I had made, my first 2 years, I lost 50 pounds. And then like slowly the progress I'm making is going backwards. And I was going through a really difficult time, but I found like even with these strict things that feel impossible for most people to not eat sugar or gluten, like even with that, I'm able to sabotage myself. I'm able to like eat unhealthy unhealthy ways and like undo my progress. What do you have in terms of advice for someone that's sitting there and they're doing the thing, like they're on the path, they know what to do, they've got the tools, and then that life thing hits them and they're just like, this is the closest, easiest, convenient way I know I can. What I've noticed is I stuff myself so full that I can't feel the feelings.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like drinking.
Yeah, it is.
To be honest,
Yeah.
right? It's just a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to try and think about why you want to lose the weight.
Yeah.
First off, like get a little bit deeper. Is it to look good? Is it to feel good? Or is it because insecurity? Like, what's the real reason why we're doing the things we're doing?
Yeah.
And if we can unpeel, that's where like therapy, I've done cognitive behavioral therapy. I had a breakthrough with inner child work.
Oh, I've heard really good things.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I know this is a bit off what you're talking about, but I had like burnout. I was going through burnout. I'd working this real hard contract. Anyways, I went to the therapist and I was like, I need help. And, we had some sessions, we weren't really making progress. And then she started doing inner therapy or inner child therapy. And she said to me, okay, Mark, picture the youngest moment you can remember in your life and how did you feel? And I looked and I had this picture of myself. I was like 9 years old. And I was like, I felt scared, vulnerable, and just like really out of control. I started bawling in this lady's office, like because it released so much. And
Yeah.
then, so the idea with inner child therapy, and I know it sounds a little woo woo, but you can heal yourself with yourself so that I can talk to that 9-year-old version of myself and be like, you're going to be okay. And I can love you and I can care for you and I can tell you you're great and I'm proud of you. Because sometimes we wait for other people, like you wait for your mom or your dad to say, I'm so proud of you. And it's never coming. And so if you could do that to yourself and heal yourself, how powerful is that? So we're not relying on outside sources to heal ourselves. It's come from within. And so that's super powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes the behaviors we have today or go back to childhood or some sort of trauma that we've dealt with in the past. And I think a lot of people eat or drink or do whatever we do to numb that and not look at it, where my approach has been to look at it and it's freaking hard, but look at it and figure out the best way through it. And so if we're stuck, like I think, again, with making a lifestyle change, it almost has to become like a new identity. So like Brooke I'm a healthy person now. This is what I do. I walk, I do yoga, I eat well. This is who I am now. Instead of saying I'm on a diet for 3 months or like I'm going to kick sugar for a year, it's like, no, now I'm a healthy person. And then you got to think, what would healthy Brooke do? Would she eat all that? Probably not. Right. And then, so if you do, that's fine. Give yourself some grace, but reassess and adjust. So I would just say, why are you doing it? And if you want to be a healthy person, just do what healthy people do.
I think that's huge. I like how you touched on really going in and touching on the root. Gabor Mate just gave me his book, lives to say it's not why the addiction, it's why the pain.
Yes.
So that's what that reminded me of, like going back and really looking at where is this pain coming from? What am I numbing? Where is this? Getting help, getting counseling, like you mentioned. And then working on your identity, like who do I want to become? Because I feel like so many people are just jumping to the identity piece and they're like, this is what I do. I do my sprints where I'm like, okay, I'm going to be this new person. I got my manifestation board ready to go. I've got I bought a new pair of shoes that are for running, all these things. And I change everything overnight and I make it about 3 weeks. And then I'm like, burnt out and back to what I was doing before. Slowly, usually it just starts tapering off. I make one exception after another and then I'm back to where I started. But I love how you said deal with that pain first, get in there and figure that out. Otherwise there's that thermometer analogy. It's like wherever your thermometer is set is where you go back to. So really fixing that thermometer.
Well, I think another thing I've heard a lot of is when things get tough, you fall back on your habits. So what are your habits at the root? And so for me, if I have a really tough day or wife and I are not getting along or work is hard, what do I fall back to? Well, I run, I journal, I eat well. I do have a bunch of tools. I have a very big toolkit now. And if I'm really struggling, I'll call my therapist and be like, hey, I need to come see you for a refresher. And I'm not ashamed to do that. I will do that because I want to be who I want to be. And I don't care what it takes to get there. I will do it. And so I've been coaching for 10 years.
Wow.
And I've seen so many times people they get excited. It gets hard inevitably. And then you're at a tipping point. Do I keep moving forward or do I fall back? A lot of times people fall back. And as a coach, it's really hard to watch because there's a point of no return where it's like, there's not much I can, if it's like quitting drinking, right?
Yeah.
Kelly asked me to quit drinking for years until the only time I quit was when I decided I wanted to quit.
Yeah.
And that was it.
You're ready for that identity shift.
Yeah.
And
really so if you want to be, and I'd love to coach you, to be honest.
Okay.
I would love to help you in any way I can. And I just, like I said, just think about who you want to be and what your end goal is. And I think that.
Okay, Mark, let's dive into business, the business side of coaching. So did you have any business experience before you jumped into your coaching, or did it kind of just organically grow out of what you were doing?
Yeah, so no experience, if I'm being frank. And I've made every mistake you could possibly make as an entrepreneur. I think we all do.
Yeah.
But so basically when I when I started getting healthy and I lost like 60 pounds and I became a runner, and I was like, you know what? And I sober and I'm like, I've figured something out here and I want to share it with other people. So I took a trip to Las Vegas and got a certification, which was like, I have a regular job, right? And so again, Kelly's like, okay, you go do what you need to do. And then I got my certification in nutrition coaching, and I went to my friend and I'm like, hey, I got the certification. Can I help you? And she said, yes. And I was like, wow, I made a transaction. So I guess I have a business, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it just started with one person, and then another person. I've done group coaching, like group fitness. I've also done something I'm really passionate about is corporate wellness, which I still do today. So the idea is going into a business or organization and do preventative health instead of reactionary health. So a lot of businesses, what they do is like, you work, you get stressed, and then you go on a leave. Well, that costs the company a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then they lose an employee, they have to hire someone else. So what I like to do is go into an organization and be like, let's start drinking water, let's start walking, let's do group fitness together. What are some tools to de-stress? And so I go in for like 12 weeks with these organizations, and then people start like, so is very like, business having employees is very competitive, right? So for a business owner, what a competitive edge is to tell your employees you care about them by saying, you know what, your health is important to me. Here's this program. And the good thing for the employees is paid for by the organization. And then I come in and smile and try and make everyone happy. It's all volunteer, like whoever wants to do it. It's up to them. So you don't always get everyone. But what I do is I do a presentation at the start and talk about my story. So I talk about weight, I talk about anxiety, I talk about addiction. So typically someone in the room has either dealt with that or they know someone who has. So I think they can glom onto that and be like, I can relate. And so corporate wellness has been great. Run coaching, that's an easy lift for me because I've done it and I know what it takes. So yeah, I do all kinds. I think it's really, and now we're doing the YouTube series. So ideally what I would like to do is bring on sponsors that sponsor our filming and videos and want to attach a brand to what we're doing. And the only way, like Tony Robbins, I don't know if you must have heard.
I have many times. Yes.
So sometimes when you're coaching, I think there's a little, even me is like asking you for money is a little weird.
Yeah.
But if you're sharing your passion, Tony Robbins says, then the only way you can share your passion is if you get paid. Otherwise you're just doing it for free, and that's not a business. So getting comfortable asking people for money for your services. And so to do races,
so guilty.
And so to do races, it's like, I want to go to Switzerland, well, you flights.
Yeah.
But I would love to work with brands that want to align and share this message of sobriety and health.
Yeah, that is such a huge lesson that I'm learning. Just recently, I went to the Sober Founders Mastermind, and we talked about this because I am notorious for giving like huge discounts because I just want to see people win, and I work with people in recovery, and so I'm doing people's websites for like stupid amount, like $300, $700, whatever it is, and then those are the people that aren't paying me that are expecting the most, and then I'm ending up frustrated, and then they're not taking their business seriously, so they end up not even launching their program or whatever it is. And I'm doing them a disservice. I'm doing myself a disservice. And I'm like slowly learning, like charge for what I'm doing, because otherwise I can't keep doing it.
Yeah.
I can't keep helping people. And like, if I have people investing themselves more heavily, then that means they're taking their business more seriously. They're more committed and they're going to win.
Yeah. I've made that mistake so many times. Like, so people, obviously you can tell I'm attached to people being healthy and recovering.
Yeah.
And so again, sob story, can I pay you $200 this week? And then eventually they don't pay. And it's just, so you're a valuable person and you have a lot of skills, and I feel the same, and that's worth something. And if someone is serious about whatever their goal is, then if you pay more for something, you're going to do it. If you get a discount where it doesn't really hurt if you pay, it's so easy to quit. And you just write it off. Oh, I tried. Whatever, right?
Yeah, you become invested in yourself when you invest in yourself.
Yeah, one of the things I did when I first started, I joined a mastermind group. It was 20,000 US.
Wow.
In California. And I flew to California with all these millionaire entrepreneurs. And so one thing I would recommend, like, to your audience, if you want to have a business or you want to get fit, hire someone who has what you want. And that's the shortest route to learning.
Wow.
Right? Get around people that have what you want and glom off. And typically what I found successful people will share.
Mm.
It's usually the people that are not successful that are like gatekeeping secrets
Yes.
and like, oh, I can't tell you my nutrition strategy because it's a secret. It's dumb, right? The information is on the internet, right?
Yeah.
So if you want something or you want to do something, get around the people that are doing it
Mm-hmm.
and just figure out what they did. And typically it's not magic. They worked really hard. They spent a lot of time on it and they got really good at it through mentorship or, like what we're doing right now.
That's brilliant. That's really good advice. Thank you so much, Mark, for everything. Where can people get in touch with you if they want to connect with your services, get to know you better, watch what you're doing?
So yeah, Mark Nendick, my name, Instagram is where I do most of my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really appreciate if people went to my YouTube channel, Mark Nendick. I have 4 films there. We have 3 more films coming out. These are all documentaries on some of the toughest races in Canada, in North America, really. And I think they're really well done. So I'd like my YouTube channel to grow. And if you're struggling, just send me a message and just say, hey, what would you do? It doesn't cost anything. I like talking to people. So just reach out and connect.
Amazing. And do you do virtual as well as in-person coaching, or is it mostly virtual?
Yeah, I do in-person and virtual. And with the YouTube, the cool thing about YouTube is I'm connecting with people from all over the world.
Wow.
And so you can coach now with Zoom and FaceTime. You can coach all over the world. So it doesn't matter where you are, we can make it happen.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and all of this wisdom you've given us today. I really appreciate it. Make sure you go and subscribe to Mark's YouTube channel. Find him on Instagram, all the things. Thank you again, Mark. I'm so grateful to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Brooke. This is incredible, and I appreciate the opportunity.